I work the night shift at a library. By TheWalrusMan. Hello, what's up? What's it crack-a-lackin'? I never know how to start these things. Hell, I never even written anything of real substance before. I was just told by a few friends to start writing this. Whatever this is. See, I have a pretty strange job. That job being, I'm a librarian. That's not the strange part though. I work night shift as a librarian. Quite the kicker, huh? I frequently stroll through these forums and pages reading stories as I pass the time during my working hours, and naturally, I stumble here. The job itself isn't all too bad, just very monotonous and tedious. Is that redundant? Maybe. So, a bit about my job. I sit behind a desk for a few hours, walk around a bit, come back, sit down, and repeat. It may seem a lot worse than what it actually is. And you're right. You see, there are these little, I don't even know what to call them. I guess they're like a sugar glider? A lemur? Whatever the fuck mort is from Madagascar. I don't know, I've only ever seen them a few times, and even then, it was just for a second. To put it lightly, they like to fuck with my shit. Like I will be sitting here on my desk and I will be drawing. I will get up to make my rounds and I will come back and the drawing will be messed up. Just a bunch of incoherent scribbles, and at the very bottom of the page, in the bottom right, what looks to be a signature. I will be impressed, but they don't even do a good job. Not to mention, those fuckers always steal my pens. Now, with any job, you will have your good and bad days. For example, I will have a really good night where nothing happens and my drawings won't get tampered while I'm making my rounds. On the other hand, I will come across a totally not inconspicuous wormhole in the science fiction section, or a yeti in the folklore section. I'm only joking about the wormhole part. That has only happened once here, and that was right before this position opened, funnily enough. I do think I have to elaborate on what doing my rounds entails. For the first round I make every night, I simply just put the books that have been returned where they need to be. The only other possibility is to clean up anything that has not been cleaned before closing, which is very rare. My shift starts at 9:30 p.m. and it is imperative that someone is here all night, so it ends at 7 a.m. The library itself closes to the general public at 8 p.m. That gives the closers ample amounts of time to tidy up and leave notes for things that still need to be done once I am on shift. Right after I complete my first walkthrough of the library, I unlock the front door so that the not-so-general public may peruse our selection. More on that later. For the next few hours, I spend my time doodling, writing, or helping out those who come into the library. Every so often, I leave my desk and walk through the library just to check on things. Really. There's never really been anything too bad to happen here. Just a few dead bodies, shady figures standing outside at all hours of the night, those aforementioned lemur shits, and a small Bible's worth of other things. I'm planning on expanding what I already have written as time goes on, seeing as I have essentially nothing but time and absolutely zero fucking pens or pencils, if I may say so graciously add. Like, okay, the least they could do is leave a quarter. Hell, I even take pennies at this point. Now, for the library itself. On the outside, it looks like any regular municipal library will look like. But on the inside, it gets a little more interesting. Once you walk through two sets of glass doors, you're greeted with a Victorian-esque interior. Shine oak floors stretch across the entire floor. The door frames have those weird but aesthetically pleasing frames that you can always see in this style of architecture. Add on to that a dull green and gold patterns on the wall. If you for some reason decide to look up, you will see rafters and arguably nothing past that. A chandelier hangs over the desk I essentially lived at, which, might I add, is candlelit. Every source of light within the library is candle, which is quite odd. Hell, we even have one guy come in at least once a week that bitches about it and insists we try out his new invention. I keep telling him that we are highly considering it just so he won't shock me. He keeps asking me if I'm married, and he always says, I do not think you can name many great inventions that have been made by merry men. Truthfully, I can name many inventions to begin with, much less with that kind of criteria. Now, on to my desk. Imagine the desk that the president sits at, or even the one that the queen will sit at. Now make it larger, a lot larger. That is the desk I want. The desk I have, however, is like a mini version of both of those desks. I quite like it though. Numerous drawers line in my workspace, which is where I keep my writing utensils. If I fucking had any left. I also keep paper, both loose leaf and regular documentation papers, around for various library tasks. Other than that, I have 2 candles on either side of me for better lighting. There are a few small doors on the desk that I have no idea what they go to. And yes, they are doors. I checked. They have little hinges and doorknobs made out of brass. There is one located on either side of my desk at floor level. All of these marvelous and beautiful things, yet the sheep office chair from the 90s is what I get to sit on. It doesn't even have armrests. Plus one of the wheels is broken, so it doesn't even roll properly. As for the book section, well, it kind of depends on the section. Each section has only minor differences, yet those differences rely on the theme of the section. The similarities of each section lie in that all the bookcases follow the same oak wood bill. Now for the differences, say for instance you want to peruse the history section, the inlay for the wood be historical related. For folklore, folklore related. See the pattern here? I find it all quite neat until you get shot in the side of the head with a toothpick size arrow by a Native American on horseback. Little shits. That thing is outside. That thing is outside again. If anyone has any idea of what to do with it, please let me know. The shape of it always different, but the same spot and same time means the same thing. If something looks like a creepypasta, feels like a creepypasta, and probably smells like a creepypasta, it is probably a creepypasta. As for my writing utensils dilemma, where can I get pens and pencil for dirt sheet? It's getting ridiculous at this point. Looks like a patron is coming in. I'll keep you guys posted. This guy is one of the ones we need to keep a general eye on while they are here. And he likes to stay a while. Well folks, this is part 1 of I Worked the Night Shift at a Library. If you want to hear part 2, tune in next Saturday for part 2. We'll be uploading them weekly, as long as the series keeps going. TheWalrusMan lets me read it. Well, thank y'all for listening. If you like the story, like and leave a comment. If you want to hear more stories, go ahead and subscribe. If you want to follow me on Twitter, just follow me on Twitter. I'll leave the link on the bottom. Thank y'all, take care, and I'll see y'all in the wasteland.